When it comes to groundwater, we're thinking about the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer. And so groundwater, first of all, is the water beneath your feet. So beneath your feet, there are layers of rock and gravel and boulders. And between all of that, there's pockets. And water fills those pockets. And locally, right, there's water beneath your feet. But then in this part of Idaho, across the kind of southern portion of Idaho, there's the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer, which is an 11,000 square mile region underneath our feet that houses all of this water. And this water is important for many reasons. One, it is important for agriculture. There's a lot of farmland associated with the Eastern Snake Plain and the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer. And so how much water is in the aquifer is important to agriculture and watering crops. And it's also used for drinking water, although that's kind of like outside of my expertise, is kind of the residential use of the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer. And so something that I've been working on is thinking about, and something that we know in Idaho that researchers and agency folks already know, is that between 1915 and 1955, the amount of water that was in that aquifer was increasing beyond kind of natural conditions. Why was it increasing? Well, it was increasing because we were putting a lot more water into it than what was happening before. We were putting all that water into it from flood irrigation and irrigation canals. Crops aren't using all of that water. They take what they need and the rest seeps down into the aquifer. So we ended up increasing aquifer levels beyond kind of those natural conditions. And in that space, we started to manage water in a way where we're like, oh, we have all this water in the aquifer. This is great. We're going to start managing it a certain way. But then, because of drought, where less water is coming into the aquifer through snow and rainfall, because of sprinkler irrigation, where we're not flooding anymore, we're kind of putting water on crops via these rainfall techniques, less water is going into the aquifer. We're lining canals, and so less seepage, less water going into the aquifer. And with the advent of groundwater pumping for homes, for irrigation, we're now taking more water out of the aquifer. So less water in, more water out. The aquifer is declining in terms of the amount of water that it's storing. One of the solutions I talk about for how do we increase aquifer storage is we should be recharging the aquifer by returning to these flood irrigation techniques or restoring them where possible. So I think it's important to know that the groundwater and the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer, that's largely a conversation within the agricultural world and agricultural users because they are the largest water user. And so in terms of what can the average person do in terms of the topic of the Eastern Snake Plain Aquifer, of groundwater use, I think it's just really important to be curious. Where is your water coming from when it's coming out of your tap? And just kind of really ground yourself in place in terms of your water systems. And so where is your water coming from? If you're floating the river, do you see where groundwater is coming in? It'll just be seeping off of a bluff. And you can even see groundwater if you're hiking in the Tetons. So just kind of be aware of the water systems around you and be curious and talk with your friends about it.